Welcome everyone for participating in today's IPCOS webinar on integrating advanced process controllers in your DCS network. My name is Hitendra Chauhan. I am working with IPCOS Abu Dhabi UAE office. Okay, so let us see the agenda of today's webinar. I will give you a brief introduction about IPCOS, mainly for the people who are new to IPCOS, and then I will discuss the importance of having a secured APC connection to your DCS network. Yeah, as a process operating company, what are the needs and why you need to review your APC network in terms of security. There are basically several ways of integrating the APC controllers in your DCS network. Some companies are doing it in a highly secured way. Some companies are doing it in a less secured way. I will discuss the typical APC network architecture that companies normally use, and I will point out the gray areas in it that can cause a potential threat to your process control network. And then we will discuss like how as a company you can secure those areas. I mean, what best you can do to secure your PCN network. Then I will discuss like what you need to check in your existing network compared to the best practices to get a feeling of how secure is your network, what elements are missing, and how and what to do to address the missing items to make your connection more secure. As there are mainly two type of connections that normally people use. One is from the APC network to the DCS, and the other connection is mainly like from the corporate network to the APC, which is mainly used for the close monitoring of the APC performance. And in my opinion, which is like a must for sustaining the APC performance or benefit. I will talk about in more details like the what values and benefits having a corporate connection to the APC can bring, can help you for sustaining those benefits. Then we will talk about the configuration details, like how you can configure your connection securely. So I will give you like some tips and tricks like how you should make sure like your configuration, your connection is secured. I will then take you to the project methodology for executing such type of secured connectivity project in terms of requirement of some additional hardware, software, and the timeline for executing or implementing such type of projects. And at the end of the webinar, there will be a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please use the WebEx chat window. And note that all the participants during this webinar are muted. If you have any questions, please ask it using the WebEx chat window. And at the end of the webinar, I will try to answer as many questions as possible. And if there will be any questions remain unanswered, I will make sure like I will get back to you either via email or the telephone call. Okay, so let us give you a brief introduction about IPCOS. So IPCOS, basically we are an independent service provider company, mainly focusing on the control room home services for the plant optimization and operation. We provide our services to the customer having any kind of DCS, for example. We are not like a technology specific company. We can work on any type of, for example, the DCS, any type of, any kind of APC software, alarm management software. We are a company of about 65 people. So you can see a picture on the right corner of your screen. This photograph was taken like a few years back during a team event building in Leuven, Belgium. I have also put one picture here at the top, which is basically taken from our head office in Belgium. Yeah, so we are basically a company of the people. Our business is really a people business. The knowledge and experience of our staff brings the value to our customers. So let us see like what we do. So we do the studies and audits for the process control and automation. We do all kind of studies like the feasibility studies for APC, the APC benefit studies. We also do the benchmarking studies. We do the base layer optimization. This is not only limited to, for example, the PID tuning, but we also do like the restructuring of your base layer control. For example, like the introducing of the ratio control or some cascade control. We have also done like the some compressors control or the furnace control configuration in the DCS. We do the alarm management projects. We do the APC projects. That is our main business. We do the implementation of the new APC projects as well as we do the APC maintenance projects also. And we do the secured connectivity projects, which is the topic of today's webinar. And we also provide the training for APC as well as for the base layer optimization. So today mainly we will be focusing on the secured connectivity of APC. Okay, so let us go directly like why you need to review your APC network. So before we go into this, like just to give you a background, like I'm working as an APC consultant since 2006, and during the last 10 or 11 years, I have implemented many APC projects, including the APC integration work to the DCS network I have done by my own. And as I mentioned, like we are a technology independent company. So we have worked on most of the APC technologies that are available in the market. So we very well understood the vulnerable areas in the APC connection to the DCS and also the corporate connection to the network. So during this webinar, I will propose you a secured solution that you can compare with your existing network, and then you can see the differences where you are lacking. So why it is important like to review your APC network? As we all know, like the APC is tightly integrated with the process network up to the DCS. So it is very important to connect it securely to the DCS network. Yeah. Now the cyber security. Nowadays, the cyber security is a very hot topic, and every company is going for the higher and higher the cyber security things. So in the wake of the heightened cyber security concerns, there is a need to identify and implement an effective and secure system architecture in order to achieve the required APC functionality, and that is also like without compromising the security standards. As I mentioned before as well, like there are mainly two type of connections that normally exist with the APC. One is the APC servers needs to be connected directly. I mean, needs to be connected to the DCS for reading and writing the APC related tags, which is a must connection you need to have. And the second is a kind of optional. Some people use, some don't use. Is like a corporate connection to the APC network. So all the VLAN users and the LIMS system can be connected to the APC down in the process network. Okay, so as I said, like you can achieve those two functionalities by doing it in a different way. Some companies are doing it in a highly secured way. Some are doing it in a less secured way. So the question really is like to check for you, like whether I mean where you stand and are you doing this in a secured way. Okay, so for this, I will show you a typical APC network architecture, what we come across quite often. So normally you will see like there are the two networks that normally exist. There is the corporate network where you have all the business users, and there is a LIMS server which is like a lab information management system which normally sits on the corporate network. And down there is a process control network. All your APC servers are basically connect to the process network. So normally people use like a three kind of APC servers. One is like an online server, which is normally used for executing the APC controllers. All the controllers run on the online server. And then the web server is normally used to visualize these APC controller in a web interface. So you can see all the limits, for example, the tuning parameters, and you can make the changes from the web server. And the third server which normally exists is, we call it as a database server, which is nothing but it is basically a kind of historian which collects all the APC related tags and historize in a database. So from the web server you can see, for example, the historical trends. You can do some KPI calculations. All these servers normally connect to a APC switch, and then these servers are basically communicating to the DCS via OPC server. And this happens like this: APC server connect to the L3 switch, and then there is a connection available from the L3 switch to the OPC. So this is the typical APC network architecture, but let us see like where are the problem exist and how we can make it more secure. Okay, so what you need to check in this kind of APC network, yeah. So I would suggest like you should not have any direct connection between the APC and the OPC server under no circumstances. And I can tell you like from our experience, most of the people, they use a direct connection between the OPC and between the APC and the OPC server. In our opinion, it must be segregated by a firewall. So if you don't have a segregation firewall between the APC and the OPC server, then you should have it if it's not the case. And if you do have a segregation firewall between the APC and the OPC server, it's very good. but at the same time you need to make sure like your segregation firewall is configured correctly. So what you need to check in that, like as I said, make sure in the segregation firewall, make sure like the right ports are open between the APC and the OPC server, because for the OPC communication this can be limited to a single port, so you need not to open this communication, you need not to open the full communication between the APC and the OPC server. You should say, okay, you can limit it to a single port only. The second point is like you should not allow the communication from all the APC servers to the OPC. As we saw in the previous slide, like there are three kind of APC servers exist, like online server, web server, and the database server. But for this APC connectivity, we need only a communication between the online server and the OPC server. So there isn't any need to open any communication, for example, between the web server and the OPC server. Yeah, and the third point is also you need to check the direction of the communication. Like in the firewall, you have different kind of configuration you can do. You can select like a single direction communication, but normally people they just choose the default like a bi-directional communication. But in our case, for the APC functionality, you need only a single direction communication. For example, like this online server is reading and writing the DCS on the DCS tag. So in our case, the source should be the APC server and the destination, for example, which can be the DCS. So make sure like you are configuring your firewall securely. Yeah, and the next thing what you need to check, like all your unused ports, with the ports which you are not using, not only in the APC switch, but all the switches that are there in your network must be shut down. You should not keep these ports alive which are not being used. Similarly, I would say like there should, if you are using a corporate connection to your APC network, make sure there should not be any direct connection. And we will talk this point in more details in the next few slides. Okay, so there are few other things that you can check in your APC network. One thing is the OPC security. As per our APC requirement, APC need to read and write only to specific tags that are part of APC controllers. So make sure to configure your OPC server securely to read and write on the tag basis. You should not allow your OPC communication, for example, for all the tags. You should only limit it for the tags that you need for which are like a part of APC. Then the second point is the MV set point validation, as the APC server is writing the set points to the DCS on the base layer PID loops. So make sure you have the proper code in the DCS which can validate your MV set points before writing it to the PID loops remote as a remote set point. For that, the best way is to configure the intermediate or the interface tag, one tag for each MV, and then in that interface logic, basically you need to check the two important things. The first thing is that whatever is the set point which is coming from the APC must be within the engineering limit. And the second thing what you can check, like the rate of change of the MV set point should not be, for example, more than your max move size, what you have defined in your on your APC configuration. Yeah. Other than that, let me just pull this one. Yeah. You can also do some system hardening things which are very important, and normally people they just ignore these things. So all the servers which are basically a part of process control network, you must deny the exes file to be accessed or run. They should not run automatically. And not even the exe file, I would say, like the Windows services which are not being used or which are unused should be disabled from the services file. All the removable media functionalities like the USB ports, the CDs, the DVDs, the floppy drives, which normally don't exist anymore, must be disabled. And they must be disabled like from the registry level. You should not disable simply from the control panel, which is not the secured way of disabling these kind of things. So make sure you disabled from the registry. Regular updates of the antivirus software. As we know, all these APC servers, for example, or all the servers which exist on the basically exist on your process network, they don't have any connection to the outside world. So it is difficult to update your, for example, the antivirus software that is running on the servers or the Windows software. So I would say like you should set up something which can, you should have a system which can update your antivirus software and the Windows software like with the latest patches or the DAT file on a regular basis. And this will I will cover in the next slide, basically how you can achieve this thing. And then the automatic regular backups of the server, which sounds quite easy, and normally the people they do it, but the best practice is to set up something which can take your which can run automatically and take the backups on a regular basis. So here I would like to point out 2 points basically. One is the frequency. So from the and the other point is like the location of these backups. So from the frequency point of view, you should set up, for example, at least twice in a month, mainly the APC online server and the database server, because those are the two servers which are getting updated all the time. And for example, the web server backup you can set up maybe once in a month, because that doesn't change that often. And for the location thing, I would say like you should set up these backups. We call it as a cross backup thing, and which means like the APC server backup must be backed up automatically. For example, on the web server, and the database server backup can be backed up on the APC online server. Yeah. So which can basically you can make sure like you have enough backups available at various locations. and you should take these backup outs on a regular basis on external hard disk. Okay, so let us see, this was the diagram which I shown you before. This is the typical architecture diagram. So whatever we discussed in the last few slides, let us see like how you can have it or how it appears on your secured APC connection if you are talking about the APC connection to the DCS. So here, as we saw, like we need to introduce this segregation firewall between the APC server and the OPC server, which is really very important. And at the same time, make sure you configure this segregation firewall securely. You should not open like the full communication between these APC servers and the OPC server. And yeah, and you can do all sorts of like a system hardening things which I discussed like in the previous slide. Okay, so let us go to the corporate connection to APC, which is a second thing like the people normally do. So here in this slide, basically I will explain like why it is required and what values and benefits it brings to you. But before going to that, like let us understand what exactly it is. So just give you a brief introduction about this connection. This corporate connection to APC means like the APC engineers sitting in their offices, or sometimes they are like in the headquarters, which is too far from the control room, and it's not feasible for them to go to visit the control room daily or on a regular basis. Either they are too busy in some other work or maybe too far from the control room. So it is very important for them to monitor the APC performance remotely and make the changes as the application demands from time to time. Yeah, so how it helps basically. So the corporate connection to APC is very useful as it enables you to continuous monitoring of your application. It helps in troubleshooting the problems quickly, and it will make the maintenance quite easy because you can monitor this thing remotely on a regular basis. Yeah, since the APC, most of the technology APC web server are highly integrated with your APC historian. So you can easily basically trend, to fetch these historical data in the form of trends. You can see the historical trends. You can generate all kinds of the KPI reports. You can check the PID performance just from your office. So which is also very useful in troubleshooting the problems. Sustained APC benefits. So here I would say like the control performance normally degrade over time, and the reason could be maybe the model inaccuracies, maybe which is maybe resulting from like some process dynamic changes or the process gain changes due to, for example, the unit got revamped, or you are operating now the unit on some different operating point, or can be there could be a change in the feed composition. So from time to time it is important like to address those changes in the APC controller. So sometimes you need to modify the model gain. For example, you need to introduce some new models, or maybe you need to change some tuning parameters, or maybe some limits which you need to change to sustain those APC benefits. And it would be good like if you monitor your application on a regular basis. And as you know, like the APC engineers are not quite often visit the control rooms, or they are not too close to the control room all the time. Review operator actions, like sometimes the operator clamp the limits, and they do that like for their own convenience, and sometimes they do it due to the limited understanding of the APC technology. Yeah, so if they will know, the operator will know like there is a APC engineer or is watching his actions on a regular basis. So he will basically not change those limits on a fly. Rather than he would, this thing would force him to talk to the APC engineers if he is facing some problem, or if he seeing like the APC controller is not doing the right thing. So which normally also build a very good communication, a very good discussion between the operator and the APC engineer, which brings a very good values from the APC, and you can basically get more benefits from your APC controller. The other part of doing this connection, like the corporate connection to the APC, is the lab data update. So you can also, if you have this connection, the corporate connection to the APC, you can set up the automatic lab data update, for example, to your quality estimator. And for these quality estimator, it is important to like these should get updated regularly with the lab data, and this is required to basically reduce any offset if there is some, if the predictions are basically going far from the actual value. Yeah, and this lab data update is not only used for updating the quality estimator, but it's also very useful if you are doing any DCS calculations. I mean any calculations in the DCS. And normally some people do these kind of calculations like the KPI, they build some KPIs, or they do some yield calculation or the recovery calculations, which need your lab data. For example, like the product qualities composition or the feed composition, which is a part of these calculations. So if you can push those values directly to the APC automatically, you can monitor those things in a real time, and which can enable you like to the operator, he can see, okay, my recovery or the yield is going down, so he will take the right actions to bring it up. And operator is definitely, yeah, if you will have this connection, the operator need not to enter all these lab values on a daily basis. It will be done automatically from the link server down to the DCS. And not only this, as I mentioned in our fourth point, like this will also establish a very good communication between the operator and the engineer. So they can discuss regularly about the APC controller performance, and if they see like it's degrading, they can troubleshoot the problem and can address those problems. Okay, so I'm convinced like it's good to have this connection, the corporate connection to the APC system. But let us talk about the security part of it. It is very important to have this connection in a secure way. Okay, so as you know, like the most of the APC technologies, they have these web-based web servers, so you can pull basically all the information related to the APC controller in a web page, and you can basically just simply launch that information from your web browser. Nowadays, you need not to, if you want to look, for example, the APC server, so you need not to go to through the remote desktop, for example. You need not to open the full communication like from the corporate users down to the APC network. Under no circumstances, like there should not be any direct connection should be allowed from the corporate network to the process control network. You must aggregate these two networks securely. And in the next few points, I would suggest you like how you can do that. Okay, so to segregate the VLAN and the VLAN or the business network or the corporate network from the PCN by introducing a APC demilitarized zone. We call it as a DMZ zone. So what it does basically, so you can establish an additional network in between the corporate network and the PCN network, and then you can have an additional web server you can install on the DMZ. So you know, like so in this scenario, you will have two web servers. One web server which is there on the APC network that will be used by the operators having the full functionality, but the intermediate server that you will install on the DMZ that will have like a read-only access, and it will have some limited capabilities. And how it helps basically, so all the VLAN users, they will not be connected directly to the APC server, so they will be connected, they will be talking to the web server that is installed on the DMZ, and the web server that is installed on the DMZ will be getting the data from the APC server. So there will be a segregation between the VLAN users and the APC network. And this DMZ is basically enables all the VLAN users to access the APC controller via firewall protected DMZ. So this deployment scenario basically provides a balance of security and data visibility for APC controllers, which is required for the maintenance of APC controllers and for sustaining your APC benefits. This type of connection also restricts. Basically, it allows you the least amount of data transfer through the PCN firewall. And as I said, like it exposes only the intermediate server to the external network or to the corporate network through the DMZ enabled firewall. Okay, and same as we discussed about the APC server, this intermediate server must also be configured to receive all the antivirus DAT files or the patches should be updated on a regular basis. Let us talk about this thing like on a DCS, on a architecture drawing, how it looks. So here if you see in the PCN and the IT firewall, we can introduce a DMZ zone in between. And for that you need like two DMZ switches, and on these two DMZ switches, you can basically install your new web server, which will be specifically be used for these VLAN users. And under no circumstances, like there will not be any direct connection from the VLAN users to the APC server. Okay, let's see some configuration details for that, some inside details. So what you can do, basically the best approach is to install the APC web server software on this intermediate server on a Hyper-V machine. So what I would suggest you like to enable a Hyper-V machine, which is nothing but like a virtual machine. And on the virtual machine, you can basically install this web server for the enhanced security. The web server must be installed with its own dedicated local security, so you can restrict only the read access. Only the read access is permitted. The virtual machine, basically, which is the intermediate server, which is hosting this website, used this IIS server, which is the Internet Information System. And this IIS server must be bind with the SSL certificates. So the SSL certificate is like a secure socket layer certificate. These certificates are using for encrypting your data, and it provides the HTTPS connection to the corporate users. As you know, like the most of these APC technologies, you use HTTP connection, and all the data which flows doesn't encrypt the information. So if you will have a SSL certificate binding with the web server that is being used in the intermediate server, that will make sure like all the information that is being transmitting up to the corporate network is all encrypted and it is safe. Yeah, it's the same thing as I said. Okay, so how you can do this? So just use the IIS server and make your website, choose it as a HTTPS. You can get those SSL certificates. There are many companies which are providing you. I can name like Semantic is one of them. Then there is a DZ certificate, and which can provide from where you can buy those SSL certificates and bind with the web server. Okay, looking at the firewall configuration. So as I said, like all these APC technologies are using a different set of ports for different functionalities. So for example, like you can limit the functionalities what you want to bring to the corporate users by choosing these ports. So here I am not giving you a list of ports that these APC software use, but you can always go back to your APC software vendor and can ask like what ports are to be used for what functionalities. So for example, you don't want to expose your, I mean, if you don't want to get like a historical data, so you can block that port in the PCN firewall. And so you will not see, like you will not be able to access the historical data, but you will see only the APC controllers. If we talk about the IT firewall configuration, only one port, which is standard HTTPS port 443, is required to open. Okay, let us talk about something about the disabling the write access, because you know, like we always say, if you have a corporate connection to the APC, it should be the read-only access. Yeah, we all agreed on that. but how you can make sure or what on what levels you can restrict that. So I would say the first thing what you can do from the web server user and rules, you can restrict the write access. So you can say, okay, for all the users going through this web server, I am not allowing any write access, which is easy to do. But I would say like you should have a second layer of protection that you can do it from the APC server itself. So whenever an web server is talking to the APC online server, it should deny that write access. And how you can do that, I will just give you an example. Just go to the APC online server and look for these data files. And here you can see these things like the allow get. And so this add host name or address is your web server. Here you can say, okay, for example, the web server I'm using for the operator in the control room, I can allow him the read access. The allow get is true, which means the read access. Allow manage, I can say true is the write access basically, which is true for the operator. But for the web server that is being used for the corporate network, I can use the second line with my intermediate server name here. Allow get, which is a read true, but allow manage, you should make it a false. So this will make sure like any connection uh, any connection from the intermediate server to the APC server is also restricted only to the read only thing from the APC server itself. Okay, the other things what you need to do, just allow only the few users and use those fixed IP addresses. You should not allow this communication for all the machines that are sitting on the corporate network. Only restrict it only to the some users which normally use this connection or which normally need to access your APC server. For example, the APC engineers who are sitting in the HQ or in their offices. The other thing you can do use the net IP of the intermediate server, because you should not use any IP series which are being used in the process network. You should not expose the same IP to the corporate users. Yeah. I would also say, which looks funny, but you should do that, like the disable the internet access from the VLAN user machine. So you should not allow the internet access. So how we do? We normally use a standalone machine in the offices, and all the users that need to access the APC web server, they can go and use the same machine which doesn't have any connection to the outside world. So this will make sure like it's more protected basically because you don't have any connection to the internet. Let us talk briefly about the APC links connection. So this is basically for the functionality for automatic lab data update to the DCS. So how does it happen? You can use the same intermediate server which we saw, which we also used for the intermediate web server thing. So this intermediate server, you can have some like database kind of thing which can basically store all the lab values. So how it works, the intermediate server normally fetch all the data from the LIMS server to some SQL queries, store it in the database. And then the database server, which is basically sitting on the APC network, it will fetch the data through this PCN firewall. and then this database server push those values to the DCS securely to the segregation firewall. And this lab data you can use for your DCS calculations, and also the APC server can use that data for updating the quality estimators. Okay, this is the same thing as I said, like the intermediate server on DMZ used for fetching the lab data. As you need to run some SQL queries which are scheduled like every half an hour to accomplish the task of fetching the data as soon as the new sample is available on your LIMS server. The database server pulls the data and store it in the predefined tags, and then you can write those values to the DCS. You can also basically have some kind of a DCS alarm, for example. If this automatic update fails, it will generate a DCS alarm or a message to the operator, and then they can look for the problem, like why it stopped. Okay, so let us talk about some requirements if you wish to do these secure connectivity projects. For this thing, I would say the implementation of secured APC connection to corporate LAN and to the DCS is a very cost and time effective thing. In terms of the hardware, you need an additional intermediate server, or the firewall, the segregation firewall is required. You need some kind of like SSL certificate to convert your website from HTTP to HTTPS, and some software, database software license for the lab data updates. And timeline for executing such type of project is maximum 6 weeks. Okay, let us see the methodology, like what methodology as a IPCOS we adopt to execute such type of projects. So the first thing what we do is we review your existing network architecture and see where we can improve upon. Then we do a meeting with the local IT team and to understand the local IT policies, and so which we can basically understand and do it as per their requirement. Similarly, we do execute meetings with the DCS team to understand the PCN architecture and their security policies, so we can implement it correctly. When we prepare this functional design specification document, if we all agrees on that, then we go for the implementation. And as you know, like for these IT and the PCN firewall, there are some custodians for that, and so we don't expect them to share with us the password, for example, for the firewalls. So we define the roles and responsibility, like who will do what task. And specifically what we do, we give you like what needs to be done in terms of the firewall configuration, and we ask like the right people to make those changes. Okay, so just to conclude this webinar, as we are running out of time, the first thing what we need to do is to review your existing network architecture and see where you are lacking and where you need to improve upon. If you don't have a segregation firewall between APC and OPC, it is must. Under no circumstances, I would say you should not have a direct connection between APC and the OPC server. Use DMZ network between the corporate network and the process network if you are using, or if you wish to use, these corporate connections to the APC. Configure these firewalls securely, as I told you some of the the points which you need to see in terms of configuring these firewalls securely, and also do some system hardening things like disabling all the services which are not being used, for example, or just disable like auto run of these exe files. Okay, let us take some of the questions which are coming in. I can see some of the questions the people are asking. Let us take this one. There is one question like, have you implemented this solution anywhere in the world? Okay, so to answer this question, yes, we did implemented this solution. These solutions like we did some few of these projects in the region. As I said, like these type of projects are highly cost and time effective, can be completed in a 6 weeks time or less, and we can basically tailor made these projects as per your requirement. As I said, like you can restrict the features you would like to see. Okay, and in the wake of like in the today's scenario where cyber security is the main concern, it is important for you like to review your APC network and configure it in a highly secure way. If there is a second question which is there is this solution what you propose varies with different APC technologies. Yes, every every APC technology is different, but we do modify the solution accordingly. As I said, like the different technologies are using the different functionalities by using different ports, for example. So you need to open the right port for the right functionality in the firewalls. Okay, and the other thing what you need to say, I would say like the basic solution or the basic architecture remains the same, but we observe like as I said, like different kind of things you need to modify for different functionalities. Let me take quickly one more question which is coming. We are running out of time here. Do we need these SSL certificate for each client? For example, if I have 10 clients, do I need 10 SSL certificates? It's a really very good question, but I would say no, you need not to buy like a 10 SSL certificate. The SSL certificate is mainly for the server which is basically broadcasting this website. So in your case, you need to have only one SSL certificate and all the users can connect to this thing. But here for all the users, you would need a client certificate which is like available free of cost. You need not to pay anything for the client certificate. So for each client, you can install one client certificate which can bind to the SSL certificate for your website. So there are some more questions I can see, but due to the time limitation, I would say like if some of the questions which remains unanswered, I will make sure to basically answer by the email or calling them directly. Okay, I think now I should I will wrap up this thing, and I will encourage you to, if you have any questions or anything, please ask either by sending an email to Christian Moon or at theipcos.com, or you can send directly to me at hitendra.chauhan@ipcos.com, and we will get back to you. If you have this webinar is getting recorded, and you can, if you would wish to basically visit this thing again, you can go to our IPCOS YouTube channel and can watch the webinar in a few days time, and we will let you know once it will be get uploaded on our YouTube channel. Please email christian.moons, or if you wish to like a copy of today's presentation. And I would like you to announce our next webinar on 20th of June next month. The topic is like the optimization of integrating PID loops, hosted by the IPCOS. And we are looking forward to see you again for this webinar. Thanks a lot again for your participation, and have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.